so you know the kind of area that you're going to try and heat. And then we're going to, I don't know, do a little ceremony of lighting a volunteer training fire now.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, go on in.
I mean, you've seen this. You missed strawberry picking today.
Yeah, now is the time to stick your
Yeah.
You can also get aprons with pockets sometimes at the farmers markets around. Yeah. And some of the kitchen shops.
Duncan's got someone who likes sewing, working on some, I think,
Oh,
too.
really?
Or
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
you
It
were
would be nice to
interested in
have
it.
like the Front Street community oven, right? Because it would
Yeah.
identify
And
you
then we
as a
can sort of
volunteer.
create multiple if she has a design that
Yeah.
she can do. She can pump them out.
Try it out and see how it works when you.
I've been eating so many strawberries.
Are they posting on their Facebook?
You don't okay. Lit was one night. Okay.
When they're opening.
He's already saying.
Because
If I say open at noon, go at noon.
Yeah.
I threw mine yesterday.
Watch me like not struggle to strike.
it's about to.
I just wait now. I'm sorry, I was late.
I will point out,
I live in
I'm doing that tonight and yesterday this afternoon.
we're about to light the fire.
I'm distracting people.
People are too
I haven't
excited.
actually said the S word yet, which is surprising because it's often one of the first things I say, but safety. While it looked like everyone had experience, whether it be camping or at home or somewhere else with lighting a fire, I like that you have your hair tied back. It's not so bad early on, but later on in the day, the amount of heat that can come out of this oven. I have singed hair right up my arms, my eyebrows, my eyelashes. I've seen people curl it. Tying your hair back, wearing a hat is definitely something that you'll want to be in the habit for. Okay. Probably you don't have to worry about having the oven gloves just yet, but when you're feeding the fire, using your tools, using the oven gloves, I can't stress enough just how hot this can get. And always being conscious, it just takes that moment of you've done this 10 times, you're not thinking, and that's what when it happens to me is I'm overconfident because it's my 10th fire this week, and I just put my hand in and go woo, and before you know it, I've curled a bunch of hairs on my arm.
What about safety glasses for people who have
Yeah.
sensitive eyes or cataracts?
Yeah, so we use onion goggles, and I got them specifically for when it's smoky. You'll see smoke if you've got wet wood, bark, it's not burning cleanly. Funny thing is no one uses them. But we've got
I
them.
had no idea there was such a thing as onion goggles.
So onion goggles do work pretty good though. So we're going to light the fire. This is stage one. This is going to be the part where you're probably going to be fighting with it a little bit. Keeping it going, blowing on it. So let's go ahead and strike a match. And
Okay, let's gotta strike it, huh?
Yeah.
Appropriate though.
Get that one.
Yeah, I was thinking burn, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I see smoke, I see fire, yay!
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yay.
There you go.
Well done.
Woohoo!
Hopefully that
so it's nice to see you nice little bits. These are like gold when you're starting a fire. So
We can thank Nick over here, our carpenter.
Oh, nice.
Thank
thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
No thanks required.
Did those little pieces just happen?
Oh
during the
yeah,
build?
that's just part of the process.
But you knew to keep them.
Yeah, we just, figured they'd have some use in the future anyways.
So nice and sheltered.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, this is the unveiling.
Right now, I'm doing something I might not necessarily encourage if you have a bellows, which is blowing in, especially later on in the day when you've got a big hot bank of embers. You go in, you give it a really big blow, and you're gonna have stuff blow back on you. That's why, especially when it gets hotter, it's gonna be helpful down the road to have a bellows.
Yes.
The problem we've had with ours is it gets the heat coming out, even with real leather. It's just been shredding our bellows. So the oven in Marguerite, Cape Breton, they're using a length of copper pipe crimped at one end, and they're blowing in it. You pull away, you breathe in, you blow through, and that's been working really well for them. So trying to find a creative way to blow in.
Our chimney
Perfect.
will be taller as well. It'll be double the height, so that'll help.
Yeah.
That's where
The copper pipe, how long is it? Is it?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen it.
Oh,
It was
okay.
the lady who runs the oven there. Her daughter's one of our volunteers, so she just
Okay.
when she heard our bellows, we're on our third bellows. She's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we're just using a pipe in Marguerite."
Yeah. It works, yeah. Oh, I'm impressed, look at that.
Yeah.
Well
So
done.
this is the beginning of that first stage, getting the fire running. And this looks like really nice wood. It looks like it's not going to be too much effort to transition to some bigger pieces.
This has been drying for 2 years.
Yeah. So this is.
It's our firework.
Yeah, it's like tinder, nice wood. I got an email. I got an email from one of our volunteers yesterday. Somebody had brought by something for another volunteer, and his PS was, "This wood really sucks." So, freshly cut.
Maybe
So-
something to mention too is a friend recently, we had a mix of dry wood and wet wood, and I was having a hard time figuring out before I bring it inside what was dry and what was wet. And a friend of mine was saying that you can just tell if it's wet or dry. If you touch it and it feels cold, it's wet.
And
If you
heavy.
touch it and it feels warm, it's dry. And that seems to work really well for me where I have a mixed wood pile, and we might have that happening here where some things might have been sitting there longer and other might be newer, so that's something to mention.
One other trick I've seen people do. Eventually, you may not have wood that's going to be dry, and at the end of the day, when the oven is being put away, there's nothing to say you couldn't use your own oven as a bit of a wood kiln. So push whatever you decide to do with the coals at the end of the day, but you could load up enough wood to start the next day's fire and let it air dry in the oven. You'll also see in some ovens, like as this fire is running, the next 2 or 3 logs you're using sitting on the front.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, that you could just kind of sit on it.
I mean, it does. I mean, there's no magic cure-all, but it can make a big difference.
Yeah, it'll help a lot with this oven. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's another a layer of insulation, and then there's a layer of brick in this oven. And so like I've been here the next day, and it's like 300 degrees inside.
Yeah.
Still. So the wood will be down here, like for the next couple weeks or months even, until we get like a really good wood storage spot here. The wood will be delivered here, so you won't have to worry about finding it or anything over here. As will bin of stuff. So when you arrive, things will be here. And do you want to go over bookings and open items? Maybe after that?
Can I ask you
Can I
a
see
quick
the
question?
house though?